Rev up your engines! Well, Consumer Reports just ranked the top cars, the most reliable cars for 2023. I agree with some, but some I agree is kind of fantasy, of course. They're talking about the most reliable cars of 2023. These are new cars. Who knows? You know, well, they're basing it on the past, blah, blah, blah. So you got to take it all with a grain of salt. Because now, they did say the 2023 Lexus NX was the most reliable. Then the Ford Maverick, of all things, made in Mexico. And the 2023 Toyota Corolla. One thing they said that I totally disagree with this. They say the most reliable thing are hybrid cars. This guy, Jake Fisher, who's a senior director of testing at Consumer Report. With today's inflated car prices, people are keeping their vehicles longer than ever. A hybrid can provide years of trouble-free miles and get better gas miles. Years. That's very debatable. Hybrid cars have a level of technology that would blow your socks off. When they do break, they're very expensive to fix. Often people can't even figure out what's wrong with the stupid things, right? Now, the average American is now keeping their cars an awful long time. The average American car is 12.3 years old. When hybrids get old, they cost a fortune to repair. Now, these consumer guys, I mean, one, they're saying the most reliable for 2023, they're new cars. Who knows how long it even will last? Maybe Toyota will start making crap. I don't know, right? You can say how they were in the past, but you can't forecast the future. And 2023 is the future. Let's face it, it's still 2022 right now. Some of their basis, as far as I'm concerned, is totally flawed. Saying, oh, they're the most reliable, the hybrids, la, 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 la. No, I'm a mechanic. I fix these things. They're not the most reliable, and they cost a fortune to fix when they age. Now, if it was like it was when I was young, and everybody kept up with the Joneses, and every 4 or 5 years you bought a new car, you wouldn't really care about hybrids. You buy a new one, 4 or 5 years later, buy another one. Yeah, they generally, if they're well made like Toyota hybrids, they're going to last no problem at all. But as they age, they are super expensive to repair. They got super expensive batteries that cost thousands of dollars. The generator goes bad, it's over $7,900 to replace. Take a lot of the stuff that people give you with a grain of salt when they're forecasting what's good and what's bad. I don't know what they base it on, but a lot of it just from people saying, oh, it's great, get a hybrid. It'll save you money in the long run. Maybe not in the long run. In the short run, yeah. But in the long run, when they break, it's not going to save you anything. I mean, Guabana says, who wins the battle of the subcompact SUVs? I'm looking to buy one. I'm considering a 2022 Toyota Corolla Cross, a 2022 Subaru Crosstrek, and a 2022 Honda HR-V. Well, they're actually all pretty good choices. You've obviously done some research. Personally, I'd go with the Toyota Corolla Cross. I've tried one out last year. Guy brought me one, and I was totally impressed on how much fun it was to drive. And it had a lot of space, just about as much as my old Matrix, old 7 Matrix. And it was really fun to drive around, and it got really good gas mileage. The Honda HR-V is also an excellent vehicle. I tried one out the other day. Guy brought one to me in Rhode Island, and I'm impressed by that too. The Subaru Crosstrek is also a decent vehicle. If you follow any of the testing, the government's got a new kind of side crash thing that the Crosstrek was one of the worst of them all. If you're worried about collision testing, I'd throw the Subaru Crosstrek out, and I'd get the Toyota or the Honda. Me, I'm a Toyota man, so I get the Toyota, right? But there's nothing wrong with the Honda HR-Vs. Road test them, see which one you like better, and then pick either of those. I like the Toyotas because they tend to last forever. Being a Corolla, they sold 50, 60 million or more Toyota Corollas. They know what they're doing, and they'll probably be going on forever. The Hondas are good too. I'm just a Toyota guy. But road test it too, see which one you like and what price you're getting too. Sometimes if you find you can get one for $5,000-6,000 less than the other, hey, go for the cheaper price between those two because they're both good. Drago 7 said, Scotty, here's a funny story. My friend's got a brand new 2022 Kia Stonic 1.2 gasoline for 13 grand. After 24,000 kilometers, the oil level is halfway between full and low. It burns as much oil as my 03 Toyota RAV4 with 250,000 miles. I don't think it's normal. Just wanted to share it with everyone. Like I say, they are not quality built cars. They just aren't. Kia's always had problems with this. On the other hand, he got a 2022 Kia for $13,000. That's not very much money, right? Price of brand new RAV4. I mean, let's look it up. Let's see what a brand new RAV4 goes for. Okay, it starts at $28,000. Most of the people that bring me, they're pushing 40, 36, 37, 38, whatever, when they actually get a RAV4. Well, compare that to $13,000. You get an awful lot of gasoline and oil for the difference between $13,000 and $37,000, right? A much better car, the Toyota. There's no arguing that. That's the reason that people buy Kias, is because they're cheap. cheaper. At least the cheaper ones are cheaper. The more expensive ones, you get into their SUVs, they get real expensive too with all the add-on crap, right? The reason people generally buy the cheaper ones is because they're so much cheaper than the really good ones like Toyotas and Hondas that they will buy them. And they'll just say, oh, well, burn some oil, add some oil, I'm driving it around, what the heck? Because really, if you're talking about $20-something thousand difference, a lot of people, that's a big deal of money. If you want a second car for a knockaround car, go ahead and get a cheap Kia. You know, they still last. You got to add oil and stuff to them as they burn, but they can still go quite a bit of time before they completely fall apart. And for that price, I mean, you get what you pay for in that price, because you're never going to get a Toyota in that price range or a Honda. Zero says, cleaners for GDI engines, do they work to reduce carbon buildup, or is it just snake oil? Well, the good ones actually do work to get rid of buildups. Most of the GDI gasoline direct injection engines have just gasoline direct injectors, so there's no cleaner going over the valves to clean the valves. So in order to carbon clean them, you have to inject it somewhere in the air system so it sucks it in, and the cleaner goes over the valves and cleans them. You hear me talking to my friend Bernie in Albuquerque. He's got an actual machine, but it's expensive. It costs many thousands of dollars. And over the course of an hour, it will clean the carbon out of your engine. It uses various cleaners, it's computer controlled, to when it sprays which, and now let it soak a little and then clean some more. That works for sure. Now, the over-the-counter ones work somewhat. You'll see there's tons of them. GDI cleaner, I even have a video on one, and you can see, take a hose off somewhere on the intake, spray it in, and then it goes on the valves, and then it cleans it off. But of course, Bernie's machine works better. You're better to pay a professional mechanic with the machine if you really want to clean it done. If you're just doing preventive maintenance to keep it from getting big, you can buy any of those spray cans and you can spray it on the intake to clean them out. Now, Bernie's got a really good fuel cleaner, and you put it in a gas tank, and it's phenomenal for getting rid of carbon on the inside of the engine. But unfortunately, it's not going to do the back sides of the intake valves on a GDI engine, because the GDI spray directly in the engine, and you put a cleaner in, it's going to spray that cleaner. It's going to clean the carbon inside the engine up a lot. But on the back side of the valves, it's not going to, because that is the intake, and there's nothing coming in the intake. That's why Bernie's machine does a better job. You're not going to spend thousands of dollars buying a machine and a cleaner. You're going to pay a mechanic like me to use it. But if you want to try some of those spray it yourself stuff, they do work to some extent. They will get rid of some of the carbon, and they're easy enough to use. Take an intake hose off, spray it in, and rev the engine a little, follow directions on the can. I mean, Gumout makes them, a lot of them. ChemTool, there's a lot of them out there, and they do an okay job. Not as good as Bernie's machine, but they still do a decent job of cleaning the carbon out of the intake valves. Henry in Pennsylvania says, I'm retiring next year. I need a car. I've got it down to a RAV4, CRV, RDX, and non-X, and non-hybrids. What do you think would be best for the last car I ever buy? If it's going to be the last vehicle you buy, I'd probably go Toyota, just because the Toyotas last a long time. But the CRVs, I've had customers with 500,000 miles on those too. So basically, see which one you like better. Go road test them. Whichever one you like out of those two, buy them. And you say you're not buying a hybrid, probably a smart deal, because if it's the last car you ever want to buy, you might live a long time. I don't know, maybe you're only 65, you might make it to 95, 30 years, right? Now, a hybrid's going to break down like no tomorrow when it gets to be that kind of age, 20, 30 years, and cost a fortune, and nobody knows how to fix them. A regular car, no, it can last a lot longer. So either the RAV4 or the CRV, road test them, see which one you like. Those are probably the best choices you can make anyway. Then the rest would just be, which do you like better? Scott Noweska 22 says, I have stiff steering on a cold start. I got a 2008 Honda Accord. It's stiff when it's cold, then it warms up. It doesn't do it in the summer, it only does it in the winter. Hell, when they get stiff like that, but then when they warm up, they go okay. The first thing you want to do is watch my video, Fixing Binding Power Steering Scotty. You flush that out. I did it 10 years ago, maybe even more than 10 years ago. My 94 Celica was like that. In the winter, it was stiff. I did that flush, then I put in full synthetic power steering fluid, because full synthetic power steering fluid flows better. All synthetic fluids flow better. Like if you live in Alaska, you gotta use full synthetic engine oil in your car, because it flows better at really cold temperatures, right? Well, the same thing with full synthetic power steering fluid. It flows better. If you do that flush, and then when you're done and you get the flush out, sucking it out with a turkey baster or whatever, and putting regular fluid back in, put in full synthetic fluid, and you'll probably find the binding goes away, because it only does it in the winter when it's colder, where it sticks more. So now, if that doesn't fix it, I would say first just change the power steering pump. Sometimes a new one will put out more pressure, and then it'll work better that way. But the flush and synthetic fluid often can fix it. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.